Every year in the NFL, it's a new team. As far as goals go, we have one. Putting a ring on our finger.
Welcome to the Buccaneers Observer Podcast. This is Ralph Phillips.
I'm Molly Bay.
Today is June 2nd, 2022. The summer is here. When is the official day of summer? Do you know?
Like the 21st of June, 20th. It varies year to year.
Oh, I'm looking at the May calendar.
Oh,
Let me see. First day of summer is 21st. The 21st. Man, it feels like summer. It's like 135 million degrees outside.
You know, our temperature here is similar to Florida, but we don't have the humidity that they have. So it feels very hot down there.
We still have a lot of humidity. I mean, we're right near the beach, so.
But they have a lot.
Yeah, they're surrounded.
Just goes
both
to
sides.
show. I know.
Yes, it has been sweat-inducing weather here. All right, we got a good show for you today. A little bit of news. You know, I did a video the other day. I haven't done one in a while. We haven't done a podcast in a while because there's really nothing going on. And then, you know, I did a video and I said, well, you know, this is the calm before the storm. This is that time of year where nothing's really going on. You got OTAs, but nothing really happens with that mess. And then the next day, boom, big news. So we'll jump right into that.
Okay, but first we have some personal news.
Oh, yeah.
We'd like to share here
ahead.
at Buccaneers Observer.
Yep.
We are expecting.
We got a new Buccaneers fan on the way.
We got a new Buccaneers fan coming. So that means no beer for Molly this season.
She's got to go through this whole season. Now, we tried to do it where she was going to be due in
season.
Summer. Yeah, so she could be. So she could drink during the season.
Doesn't work the way you plan it.
Never does it?
It does not. So, a New Year's baby, hopefully, which that's like the tail end of the season. I think the last game is like January 7th. So maybe I can have a beer then. Hopefully. So.
Yes.
There we go.
Fantastic. Good news. Good news. All right. To the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers have signed defensive lineman Akiem Hicks. He's a free agent. He's played with the Chicago Bears. He was originally drafted by the Saints in 2012.
Was he?
Yes. He played with the Saints for 2.5 years, I think. Maybe it was 3.5 years. Let me see.
I don't remember that at all.
Right, yeah. He was a 89th overall, third-round pick with the Saints in 2012. And he ended up going to Chicago, but that was after he did a stint with the Patriots for like half the season in 2015. So he was with the Saints for 2012, 2013, 2014, and then half of 2015, or a few games in 2015. And then he went to the Patriots, finished the season out there. Then went to Chicago, and he's been at Chicago ever since. Now, he has the reports where he got a 1-year, $10 million deal. And technically, it's true, but further details came out the day after, and it's not quite as cut and dry as that.
It never is it?
Right, it never is. He is actually a $6.5 million salary with about $2.5 million salary in bonuses and incentives. He's got a $1.5 million that he can earn per game roster bonus, which I guess means that if he suited up for every game, he'll get $1.5 million.
Which is insurance because of his injury history.
Right, which we'll get into here in one moment. Now, he can make an extra $2 million by making the Pro Bowl and first team All-Pro and for playoff wins.
Okay, this is what I don't understand. Aside from the playoff wins, like, why do teams care about that stuff? The Pro Bowl and the All-Pro?
I don't know. Is
it like marketing for the team? They're like, you make us look good.
Don't know.
Because they're personal accolades. Like, why does the team give a crap?
I guess they just don't want these guys coming and not trying.
Yeah.
Just collecting a paycheck. Just give them some little incentive. But I'm with you. I mean, the Pro Bowl and the AP, it's all journalists picking their favorite players. It's a popularity contest. Mm-hmm. He'll make $500,000 if he makes it to the Pro Bowl. $500,000 first team All Pro, and $250,000 per Buccaneer playoff win, so he can make up to $2 million in incentives that way. His cap hit is only $2.39 million this year and $4.9 million next year. Very strange. I don't know how Greenberg and these guys pull all this stuff off.
Well, I'm seeing that it's 4 void years.
Yeah, is there really a cap? I mean, seriously, has any team ever not made cap?
I don't think so.
I mean, it's just like
there's all these little tricks.
Look at the Saints. Every year going into the off season, they're like $100 million over the cap, and everybody's like, "Oh, they're just going to have to jettison players this year," and they never do. They never did. It was just somehow they'd finagle it, keep the same players, give guys bonuses and extra contracts, and I don't know. I think the salary cap's a myth. I don't think it exists. It just doesn't seem to have any bearing on anything.
Well, I think it does have some limitations, but I think with everything, people exploit loopholes.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the thing.
But I mean, it does offer more parity than like the MLB, where they have no salary cap. So
at least I assume they don't. I haven't followed baseball in 15 years. Who knows what they got over there now? I
mean, while there are teams, I think, that can, finagle around, and I would love to see like actual spending versus what the cap number was. Like, what was the actual number they spent, and just see how similar they are and what it's like across the league.
Yes. Very strange. The whole cap stuff. And anybody says that they understand it are lying. It's like compensatory picks. Right. Nobody understands that mess. There's maybe 5 people on the planet, and they're the ones that wrote the rules.
Well, and here's the thing, too. Okay, so Akiem Hicks, his salary cap works out to $2.39 million. If he plays more than 9 games, it can be up to $700,000 higher. Does that matter? Like, isn't the cap number only important at the start of the season? They're like, okay, you're top 53. That's who we care about. And
it's actually top 51, right? Isn't that?
Yeah, maybe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cap
but, it's the top guys. And then what happens when people make their incentives, or they have, things like this where it factors into their cap number? Does the team later have to go, oh no, we're not under the cap at this point? Are they constantly readjusting? Yeah. Like, how does that work? Does it matter after the start of the season?
Yeah, I'm with you, man. It's a mess. It's definitely not clear cut. We follow it quite heavily, and we're constantly going, what?
Yeah. And they have websites that track this stuff, and they're all different.
Yeah. Right. And like he got a 1-year, $10 million contract is what everybody was saying. And, my first thought was, why are we paying him the same amount that we were going to pay Ndamukong Suh?
We would have paid Suh less. I mean, last year we paid him like $7 or $8 million.
Right. And then you come to find out that it's kind of not incentive laden, but it's got quite a few incentives. So it's not really a $10 million contract. So you go, oh, okay, I get it. Suh, he didn't have that. Right. I mean, his contracts were pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
See, he got $9 million last year, $5 million signing bonus. So it was just a straight up $9 million contract. Year before that, it was an $8 million contract with a $5 million signing bonus. And in 2019, it was a $9.25 million contract. So, when they said $10 million for Akiem Hicks, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Why are we paying him more than Suh? When, I think Suh is a much more solid player. You know?
Right. Our preference would be to get Suh back.
Right.
You get someone who's familiar with the locker room, with the system. He's been pretty reliable for us.
Yes, he never misses games, ever. I mean, he's never missed a game due to injury, ever. That's incredible. Guy's been playing for, 13 years?
I know. Yeah.
This will be his 13th year. That's the very definition of Iron Man. And, availability is accountability. You could have the best player in the world, but if he's sitting on the bench all the time, what good's he going to do?
Right.
And Akiem Hicks has had some injury issues. He missed 8 games in 2021 with a dislocated elbow and 11 games in 2019 due to injury. And he's had ankle sprains, knee strains, hand fractures, dislocated elbow sprains, hamstring strains, groin strains. He's missed quite a few games in his career. He's only started 110 out of 138 games that he's played. And, Suh is in comparison has started 191 of 191 games. So big difference there.
I agree. I don't, it's kind of a head scratcher to me. I don't understand why they didn't just bring Suh back.
Yeah.
Like, what's the comment below? Tell us what you think the benefits are to this signing over Suh.
Yeah, I put out a video and I was kind of negative on this because, I'm a big Suh fan and I really want to bring him back. It appears like it's just not going to happen. And, Akiem Hicks, I think I was a little too negative on him. I don't know a whole ton about him. I do know that the Bears fan base really loved him, said he was the heart and soul of the defense. They're happy that he's going to go somewhere where he can make it to the Super Bowl. Apparently the Bears are in rebuilding mode again. They're ejecting everybody.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the Bears fan base is not happy with the direction the team has been heading. And, that the one thing they did have was their defense, and now it's pretty much gone. So you got a lot of positive stuff about Akiem Hicks from their fan base, but we played them in 2018 and 2020, and I went back and I looked through my notes and watched some of the All-22, and I didn't have anything about being impressed with Akiem Hicks, but what I did have was him and Jensen fighting, which that's pretty common. Jensen seems to fight with everybody, and Akiem Hicks did a lot of, I don't want to say dirty, but he had a lot of uncalled penalties. And there was actually one play, I don't know if you remember, but Khalil Mack, we played Chicago Bears, it was in 2020. Wirfs was our rookie, and he got hip tossed by Mack on TV. And I was furious about it because it was actually after the whistle. It should have been a penalty, but they didn't call it a penalty, and it was definitely unnecessary. He caught Wirfs kind of off balance. It was after the whistle, and he threw him to the ground. And, of course, the media made a big deal about it, and it made Wirfs look kind of bad. Well, a couple plays before that, Akiem Hicks did the same thing to Wirfs. And a couple plays before that, Wirfs had got injured. He was hurt, and he was laying on the ground. I think it was his ankle. So they were kind of beating up, the rookie injured guy. And they were doing it kind of mean, which I don't, I'm a defensive guy. I like meanness and stuff like that. But Akiem Hicks took Wirfs, and it was after the whistle again, and kind of bear hugged him and then tossed him on the ground and landed on top of him. Boom. This was right after he had gotten his ankle hurt. And I think the reason why that was happening was because we were just beating up on their offensive line, and they were frustrated, or their defensive line. Mm-hmm. So, from what I know of Akiem Hicks, which isn't a whole lot, I'm like, he didn't stand out to me other than, kind of some frustrated play and after whistle stuff. But we'll see. We'll see. From the sounds of it, he's a great locker room guy. He's got a lot of energy and all that. But, the Bears fans did admit that he has an injury issue. He doesn't, he leaves games a lot. He gets hurt at weird times during the season. Apparently, he got into an argument with the defensive line coach at the Bears last year at the end of the season and kind of like sat out.
Ooh.
Yeah. There was a big falling out between him and the coaching staff. So
that's why he's still a free agent at the end of May.
I guess so. So we'll see, man. We'll see. But, it is better that, we did save money. Like I said, I was really shocked. I was like, oh, my God, we're going to pay more for Akiem Hicks than we would Ndamukong Suh, but we're not actually. We're only paying 2.9, about $3 million for him this year.
And you're getting a younger guy.
2 years. But, what's young have to do with anything if he's going to be injured?
Listen, I'm trying to have some, pros here.
We'll have to see, man. I'm seriously, it's one of those things where I'm just kind of head scratching. I don't understand it. He's got to put faith in.
Who's behind the move?
Right. Yeah.
Is this a Tom Bowles decision? Is this a Jason Light decision? Is this a BA decision? Because he's still in the front office, supposed to be doing this kind of stuff.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
It's an interesting move that I don't quite understand, but I trust the front office. I wish Suh was coming back for sure.
Yes. And maybe they wanted somebody that was more rah-rah because we're losing JPP.
Yeah.
And he was the rah-rah in your face, let's bite their heads off and get veins between our teeth type of player. And apparently Akiem Hicks is kind of like that. I've seen a lot of videos where, he's getting in people's faces and barking at them and growling. And, he's got a very aggressive attitude, which I like.
Okay.
So
maybe it is about a combination of replacing Suh and JPP with one player.
Right. Right. Now he's not going to be Suh. Suh is very stalwart. That guy, run game, just between him and Vita, there was just no running up the middle. It just didn't happen. And, we're going to lose that. Our run defense is not going to be as great as it was. Akiem Hicks is, he's probably decent at the run, but not like Suh. And again, the reliability. Suh was always there. He got a lot of snaps for a big guy, and he played every game for us.
You need to do some film review.
Oh man, the damn Game Pass is so horrible. You just can't. They don't even have the all 22 of past games.
They don't?
No, I think they got them up for last year, but they don't have anything further than that. I've got stuff that I've downloaded and saved, but it's annoying. The Game Pass, they just really screwed that mess up. But Akiem Hicks, his stats are not near as good as Suh's either, which is, I'm not a big stat guy, but it makes you just scratch your head. He's got 9 pass defenses, throughout his career. And this is just including regular season, not playoffs. Suh's got 38.
Wow.
That's a big difference.
Yeah.
He's got 6 forced fumbles, and Suh's got 5. But, of course, it's more than that because of the playoffs. Suh was very good at getting forced fumbles in the playoffs. And that's the thing about Suh that I really, really liked. And it was something we didn't have in the Buccaneers defense for a long time. We had playmakers, but not playmakers when it mattered. And Suh was very, very good. I mean, you go back, I'd like to put together some videos of how great he was at third downs and making plays when we needed it. Matter of fact, against the Rams, he got that forced fumble that kind of started the defense's comeback, where we almost came back and won. Mm-hmm. And that last play where they hit Cooper Kupp for the big gain, it was Suh that busted through the line and almost got to Stafford. He was the only one close. He actually made Stafford throw from his back foot. Just happened to be a good pass. And, so Suh's, that's something that, you don't see on the stat sheets. Also, fumble recoveries, he's got 9, as Akiem Hicks has 6. Now, sacks, Akiem Hicks has 40.5. Okay. Now, Suh has played 2 years longer than Akiem Hicks and many more games, 191 compared to 138. So that's 60 more games. But Suh's got 70.5 sacks.
Whoa.
Almost twice as many.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would just like to know, like, what is their play style? Like, how are they different that way? Like, stats are hard, to kind of grasp what a player really is.
Yes, and Suh's played in a 4-3 defense and 3-4 defense. Akiem Hicks has only played in 3-4 defenses, which is what we run. He's more aggressive in the pass rush. He's faster, he's quicker, although he's bigger. Suh comes in at about 320, I think, and Akiem Hicks is closer to 350, 335, somewhere in that area. But he's faster than Suh and more athletic. So that's maybe what they're wanting, is more speed up the middle. Don't know. But we've got him and Logan. It looks like we're pushing for a more pass rush defensive line. So that's what we're going for. Tackles, Akiem Hicks had 387 in his career. Suh had 590. That's a big difference. Tackles for a loss, Hicks had 73. Suh had 130.
Wow.
Quarterback hits, Akiem Hicks with 111. Suh, 212. It's double. And, of course, Akiem Hicks had his one Pro Bowl appearance in 2018, whereas Suh has had 5. And he's had 4 All-Pro, 1 Defensive Rookie of the Year, and a Super Bowl. So, stats-wise, Suh blows him out of the water in every category except for forced fumbles. So, I'm just like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm like you. I'm putting my faith in the coaching staff. So we'll see. We're losing 2 big players, man, JPP and Suh. They were the backbone of this defense, veteran leadership. So it's going to be interesting to see what this team is going to be like without them. Now, one thing with Bowles, I complained about it quite a bit over the past couple of years. His defense, half the time I loved it, half the time I hated it. He does a really good job. It's a very complex defense. You never know what you're going to get. Every time you look at his defense, there's about an 80% chance it's not going to be what it appears pre-snap. And half the time you can't even figure out during the snap what's going on. He's got guys running all over the place, and he's got formations I've never seen before. But one of the things he liked to do is he liked to have his defensive line guys drop back into coverage. He would have Suh and Vita and sometimes Nacho, these big guys drop back into coverage 2 or 3 times a game. I was not a big fan of that at all. I get it. It's just a way to mix things up and confuse the offense and all that, but it's worthless, as far as actual getting something done, because Vita cannot jump more than 6 inches. Unless you throw it and hit him in the face, he's not going to defend a pass. And he can't defend any receivers or running backs or tight ends. And he's not going to tackle people in space either unless he catches you from behind. So, stuff like that, I was like, yeah, it's to me, it's too gimmicky for the talent we've got. With the talent we have the past few years, we should have just taken the leash off and just let these guys go. Let the front 4 or front 5, actually, just let them go. Just let them do their things. Don't have them dropping back in coverage and, doing all these complex stunts and twists and all that, unless they wanted to. Mm-hmm. I think we did too much tricky stuff. And it was one of the knocks I had on Bowles is that, he's more of a clipboard guy. He's about the scheme. His whole defense is scheme, kind of like Cutter was, but on defense. And, when you've got Shaq Barrett, who's got an enormous toolbox of moves. He's a defensive end. He's a pure defensive end. He's he's going to, you give him enough time, he's going to get to the quarterback. And, he's great at run containment. He never makes mistakes, hardly ever makes mistakes. He's always where he needs to be. Anyhow. And when you drop him back into coverage, which they did about 20% of his snaps, it drove me crazy. I'm like, why in the world do we have one of the best pass rushers in the league dropping back into coverage so much? I get it as far as, being tricky, but when you have talent, you don't need to be tricky. You look at the New England Patriots, they played pretty much vanilla offense the whole time Brady was there, but they would throw in, 2-3 trick plays a game. That's fine. But when you got a team like the Jets, who they're young, they're inexperienced, and you're trying to build it, that's when you use a bunch of trick plays, which they do, and it works out for them. It's pretty good. Trick plays are okay. Being tricky is okay in small doses, but I think we did it way too much, especially for the talent we had up front. Now, with JPP, he's gone. And he was pretty good at dropping back in coverage. He could bat the ball down and all that good stuff. I don't think Shaq Barrett ever did it once. Nelson was good at it. O'Connor was good at it. Our gay stats guy. Nassib. He was good at it. Shaq Barrett, not so much, But, he did his job, and he'd fall back. And it was just, it's like having a Lamborghini or a Bugatti and driving it on the beach. It's just not.
Yeah.
You're like, why are you, not having this guy rush and have containment 98% of the time, 90%, 80%? And he wasn't even on the field that much. Shaq Barrett would get rotated out a lot. So, so it wasn't like he was out there 100% of the time. So, and then when he was out there, 20% of the time, he was dropping back into coverage. They did the same thing with JPP. It was about the same. So, I don't know. I think that's the defense we're going to have this year is more, they're going to be faster, a lot more tricky stuff.
Well, I think that you have to innovate. We're so used to turning over coaching staffs every 2 years.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? We have a coaching staff for the third year. Looks like they're going to be here longer term than what we're used to. They got to innovate because otherwise they got film on all your stuff.
Get stale.
Yeah. They figure out how to beat you.
Yeah, they definitely did. Let me see. In 2019, Bowles and them came in and, run, I wouldn't say a completely different defense, but it was a different style. And
I'm sorry, this is our fourth year in the system.
Right.
Not third.
And in 2020, they changed it up to more of a, because Bowles is a secondary guy. He's in the coverage. He's a big coverage guy. That's his thing. And, so he, had the edge rushers dropping back into coverage a lot, and then last year he was doing just much more, and not just the edge rushers, but the defensive line guys, the big guys were dropping back. He did it a little in 220, but last year he did a lot more. So I don't know if we're going to, to continue to do that. I think they're going to change it up a little bit, but I think we're trying to get a lot faster to push up the middle. It seems to be where they're going at. And they might want these guys to drop back in coverage more too. Yeah, Logan, he's tall and lanky, and wouldn't surprise me if they dropped him back into coverage more than they did Sue. Because again, he wasn't that great at it either. These big guys, they just don't jump. They don't.
Yeah.
They ain't got that length.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I think we're going to see a little bit of a difference in our defense this year.
Maybe not necessarily a bad thing.
No. I would like to see them just, have Shaq Barrett rush more.
Yeah.
That's his thing. Just have him beat these guys. That's what he's so good at.
Yeah.
So, The Akiem Hicks thing, I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. To be honest with you, I'm not too thrilled about it, and I don't want to put a wet blanket on everybody.
You're such a curmudgeon anymore.
I know. Where'd this come from? Normally, I'm the cheerleader. Rah, rah,
I
rah.
know.
But again, I just, I enjoyed watching Suh play so much, and I think he brought so much to the team, unheralded, because guys look at stats so much, and he didn't show up on the stat board that much. But again, the stats he does have, they were generally important. He didn't get a sack in the first quarter on first down, call it a day. He gets sacks in the third downs and, with 2 minutes left and we need the ball back, that type of stuff.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm going to miss his rapport with Vita. That's kind of sad to me.
Yeah. Big girl.
Yeah.
Big girl.
So that stinks. But this is also the nature of the NFL.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And free agency. And, Suh has always, he's been with us 3 years, signed a 1-year deal every time. Like, if he wanted something longer term, maybe you should have taken care of it then.
Yeah.
So it's the nature of the business. I think he understands that as much as anybody. I do not want to see him go anywhere else.
Oh, God, no, especially in our division.
I don't think he will in the division. Well, I think it was the Raiders and was it the Browns interested in him?
I think Browns are interested in everybody.
Yeah.
Do they have any money left?
I don't know.
I think $250 million.
And then I saw something. The rumor is that Deshaun Watson's going to get suspended the whole season.
What? Really?
Those are the rumors.
Man, I don't understand any of this mess.
I don't either. You want to talk about Tyler Jonsen?
Yes.
Okay.
Moving on.
Tyler Jonsen, one of our receivers, way at the bottom of the depth chart.
Yeah, he was a practice squad player.
Yeah.
Not to be confused with number 18 Johnson.
That one's Tyler Jonsen.
Right. This one's Travis Jonsen. I did confuse them,
actually.
Yes.
They
Travis
spell it
Jonsen.
Different. Jonsen. That's Travis.
Right.
Tyler is the traditional spelling.
Right. Jonsen. Travis Jonsen he's been on the practice squad for 2 years, never taken an NFL snap.
That's crazy. I swear that he's played in a game before.
Mm-mm. No,
did he play in preseason?
Johnson. But probably.
Okay. Yeah. I feel like I've seen him before. I was like, oh, yeah, he's pretty good.
Yeah, I think he was number 16.
Okay.
And then this year, somebody took 16, and he was number 85, I think. So, anyhow, the point being, he got pulled over Memorial Day, or was it Sunday? I think it was Sunday, for DUI. And apparently, he was driving 100 miles an hour in a 50-mile-an-hour zone and driving erratically, got pulled over, refused to take a breathalyzer or a blood test. So they charged him with DUI, which is what happens. They took him to the courthouse, locked him up. He eventually got out on $5,000 bail? $500 bail. And the Bucs released him the next day.
When you're that low on the totem pole, you can't afford any of this. We ain't got time for that.
We had 14 receivers on the roster right now. Well, we had 14. We got 13 now.
Oh, my gosh.
And we're only going to keep, 7?
Yeah, maybe.
Is that how many we keep?
I want to say 6.
Yeah, seven wide receivers.
Okay.
So, and you've never made the roster and everything. It's just a bad move, and I hate it for the guy. I did a video on it, and I talked about the last time this happened was Austin Safari Jenkins, 2016. Mm-hmm. And, he was a good tight end. I liked him.
I didn't.
You didn't?
No.
Maybe I didn't either.
No, I don't think we did.
In hindsight.
He was one that Lovey drafted. He was not very good.
Well, anyhow, he was a starter for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he had like 8 touchdowns on the season or something, and he got a DUI, and we cut him the next day. And he ended up going to the Jets mid-season. I think the next week they picked him up, and he came out and he said he had an alcohol problem and all that. And he played pretty well for the Jets. Then ended up getting injured. I think it was the next year. And then he went to the Jaguars and ended up getting injured again. And he's never played since. You know, and you just hate that. You hate to see these guys get, let something like alcohol or, drugs just destroy your career like that. Mm-hmm. At least Osasfari Jenkins got a second chance. But this guy, Travis Jonsen, he ain't going to get a second chance.
No, he's done in the NFL.
Yeah. Now, he had just signed, I think it was a $750. What's the minimum? 1 year minimum. I think it's $750,000.
Yeah, probably something like that.
He had just signed that. He probably wasn't going to make the roster, so he wasn't going to get that. But I think they make $150,000 on the practice squad. Something. Again, it's salary cap stuff. Nobody can keep it straight.
I know.
So, but anyhow, he's losing out on that money, and he's going to kick himself for the rest of his life.
Yeah.
And he's going to think, I just shot myself in the foot over some stupid mess. And hopefully he doesn't spiral down. You never
I agree. When you're so young like that, and it's just one dumb choice.
You don't realize how every choice we make gets carried with us for the rest of our lives. Mm-hmm. And when you're young, you don't think of that. Mm-mm. I know I didn't.
No.
I'll have a hard time thinking about it now.
And I mean, come on, going 100 in a 55, like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Especially when you've been drinking. We think. I mean, they charged him because he refused the test. We don't know what it actually would have been, right?
Right. Yeah. They automatically charge you if you refuse to take the test. At least that's how they do here. I'm pretty sure it's the same nationwide.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because if they didn't, everybody would just go, I ain't taking no test.
Yeah. And it's silly too. Like, he was booked at 4:56 in the morning. So early morning, he was probably pulled over around 3, early morning. You're like, there's no one on the road.
Right.
Like, if you're going 100 miles an hour in a 55 at that time, and there's a cop anywhere in your vicinity, like, they're pulling you over. Mm-hmm. Like, you have a very high chance of getting busted on that one.
Yeah. But you never know. I mean, you get to drinking. It's one of the key aspects of alcohol is it makes you not think rationally. So, he might have gotten in a fight with his girlfriend or what, and he's just jumped in his car and all that. It's just so things can happen so fast. And luckily, he didn't get in an accident or anything.
Yeah.
But that's it's just tragic. You hate to see that stuff. We have some other bad news too. Calvin McGee, ex-Buccaneers tight end, he passed away at the age of 59. Hey, are you noticing a lot of players passing away? Marion Barber. Marion Barber, running back for the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. He just died at 38.
I know.
I mean, what's going on? It just seems like way too many people are dying at a young age.
I agree. OTA news. Warren Sapp was a guest at one of the OTAs working with the defensive lineman.
I saw that. That's pretty cool. Could you imagine being Logan Willis and all of a sudden Warren Sapp walks out on the field and he's like, you grew up, this guy was an idol. Yeah. You probably never saw him play, I think.
I know. I just wonder. I was like, he's probably retired by the time they were watching football.
Yeah, but I mean, you
know that name.
You talk about defensive tackles. Warren Sapp is one of the first names that comes out of your mouth.
Yeah.
And he comes out on the field and he's like, all right, I'm gonna coach you up today. You listen to everything that man says. Mm-hmm.
And he's a presence too.
Yeah.
On the, he's just kind of in your face. He's very much a personality.
Yeah, could you imagine how these guys are? It's like all of a sudden here, you get drafted in the NFL for one. You're like, ooh, that's pretty big. I'm a star now. And then you go to the Buccaneers and there's Tom Brady. You're on the team with Tom Brady, man. And then there's Mike Evans. You're like, well, this guy has 8 years of 1,000-yard seasons. He's never not had a 1,000-yard season in 8 years. Get a world record. You've got Warren Sapp coming out there. You got to be like, whoa, there's Levante David. You're like, it's got to be like just overwhelming, I would imagine.
I agree. It's very intimidating. And, a legacy, like that's what most of these people think. I mean, they all think about getting paid, getting to the NFL and getting paid. But then your legacy is right up there too. And so you're meeting guys who have created a legacy for themselves. And
yeah, I bet legacy in hindsight is more important to these guys. I bet if you asked every single one of them, which would you rather have, a Hall of Fame or to have been paid an extra $1 million a year?
Yeah.
While you're there, every single one of them would be like a Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Because once you get out of it, you're out of it. You can always make more money, but you can't ever add to your NFL legacy.
No,
unless
you get a very short window.
Very short window.
To do something.
You got some who have been fortunate enough to go into the business, whether it be broadcasting or management or coaching or something like that. But as far as a player is concerned, you're done. Your legacy. And I guarantee you, all these guys look back and they go, man, I wish I would have done more.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how quick it was going to go by. And you do get these guys a lot of times who, they are all about the money. I think Antonio Brown is kind of like that. He's just so focused on the money that he doesn't realize, your time's up, buddy. You've done laid it all out on the field that you're going to be able to lay out.
Yeah.
And what you laid out started off great, but ended up crap.
Do you think he's a Hall of Famer?
I hope not, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
He like so many guys, he had the talent and the skill, but being a Hall of Famer is more than stats and talent and skill. You have to be a good representative of the NFL, and he just was not.
I agree. I think it's about, again, the legacy, what you bring to the sport, what you left behind.
Yeah.
He just trashed all of that.
It's like Michael Vick. Probably one of the most dynamic quarterbacks I've ever seen. Just really, he basically invented the running quarterbacks that we see nowadays. Me and Molly were watching dynamic runs. What was the name of the video? It was every year from 1980, the most spectacular run of the year.
Yeah.
And 2 years was Steve Young.
Yeah.
And I was like, normally it was all running backs, but Steve Young had, I think he had a 60-yarder and a 40-yarder that were pretty spectacular.
He was, I don't know if it's the pads, but he was so clunky looking too. Normally these running quarterbacks are very svelte and athletic looking, and he did not.
Oh, he was so awkward. But he was like the original running quarterback, And but then, as the years you had Culpepper and all these guys, but then Michael Vick came, and he was just a cheetah. Just amazing, and he could throw the football like on a rope, 80 yards down the field. He was just crazy good. Just his skill level was through the roof, but he didn't have the character, and he just ruined his legacy.
Yeah,
and it's such a shame. I hate it. You see these guys that are just spectacular athletes just shoot themselves in the foot over stupid stuff.
And it's really not that hard not to.
No, and when Mike Evans came in the league, I was really worried about him because he had an attitude, and, the first year or two that he played with us, oh my God, he was getting into it with officials all the time and other players, and he would always fall down hurt. He actually cost us a game doing that one time. He fell down acting like he was hurt, and they ran 10 seconds off the clock because it was an injury, and that cost us the game. They actually ran the clock out because And I think that was kind of the turning point for him. He was like, man, I got to stop acting like this. Mm-hmm. And now he's like a Buddhist monk.
I know.
He still gets out there and, gets in guys' faces and stuff.
He's passionate still, but he's smarter about it.
Yeah, he does. It seems like he doesn't let his emotions get the best of him. Mm-hmm. And I love that about him. And he's one of those guys that I think has realized, hey, I'm just going to go out there, do my job, not worry about all the glamour and the glitz. I mean, what do you hear from Mike Evans? He's a family man. Mm-hmm. He's got his charities. He's not always crabbing to get in front of the camera. Mm-hmm. When he is in front of the camera, he gives basically canned responses, but he's friendly. That's what you need to have. He'll be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Like Jackson was the same way. Mm-hmm. Twin Towers. Mm. Yeah.
Oh, that's such a shame. Mike Evans' wife just had a baby.
That's right.
He missed part of OTAs. He was in Texas with his wife, understandably.
Yes. And we got to get back to the OTAs. You mentioned it, and then we just...
I know. I only followed the first part of it.
We got a lot of veterans there. It surprised me that some of the guys that showed up.
Yeah.
Like Fournette's out there, right?
I think the first day he was not, but then a few, like Donovan.
Vita out there.
Yeah. Shaq Barrett was there. Mm-hmm. Anthony Nelson, Devin White, and Russell Gage was there.
Russell Gage, I could understand. He needs to kind of get some practice time with his offense.
Yeah.
Brady, of course, not out there.
Which, okay. That's weird to me. I just find that weird.
Yeah.
I guess he doesn't really need it, but I feel like the rest of the team needs it.
Right.
Needs him there. So, I don't really love that. But I think his point is you don't get paid extra, right, for doing that.
No. And, you could also get injured and he's got all kinds of stuff going on. He just did the golf match.
Yeah.
With
I don't
Aaron
understand
Rodgers.
what that is.
It was just a promotional thing. But we didn't watch it. We ended up watching the Lightning get their butts whooped by the Rangers.
Oh, is that what happened? I went to bed.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Ooh.
6-2.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Oh, it was back to back. It was 1-1.
Yeah, it was great.
It was
through the second quarter, and then the damn bottom fell out.
That's a shame.
Yeah, the Lightning did not look. They were not on point, and they had their problems switching out their players and all that good stuff. So, I think it's just one of those games. So, anyhow, that's what we did. But Tom Brady's just got way too much stuff going on right now.
Yeah,
he's not going to show
popular.
up at OTAs.
He's a celebrity.
He's a celebrity. Think he'll make the Hall of Fame?
He'll make the Hall of Fame, and all the other quarterbacks that they put in before him, they're kicking him out.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
They should just make him commissioner of the league, I think.
I think Peyton Manning would be a phenomenal commissioner.
I do too, yeah. Probably would.
He should be the commissioner.
Yeah.
Get rid of Goodell.
Oh, God. Such a horrible. So he's horrible. I don't know. I don't get it.
I have some NFC South news.
What's going on in the NFC South?
Falcons linebacker Deion Jones underwent shoulder surgery, and he's going to miss the off-season workout program. He has a $20 million cap hit, and there were some rumblings about his future in Atlanta, so not great news for him.
They might as well. They're in rebuilding mode.
I know. Exactly.
Kind of like the Panthers. Their quarterback, the one they just drafted, he apparently had some personal stuff and didn't show up for OTAs or something. Yeah. But Rule was like, yeah, we're cool with it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, what kind of personal stuff?
Nobody knows. No.
Oh.
And I think it was just the one day. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe it was family stuff or.
I'm really anxious to see what happens with the Panthers. I think they're just going to be a disaster. I don't think Rule's going to make it. I don't know if he's going to make it out of this year.
No,
It's just so weird. They have this attitude of they're good.
I know.
You know, they're set.
I know.
We got this.
It's gonna be fine, guys.
Yeah.
It's that meme with the dog and the fire.
Mm-hmm. This is fine.
This is fine.
Yeah. Ryan Fitzpatrick announced his retirement today.
Oh, we did.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yep. He's played for so many teams, but there's only 2 teams he's never played against. It's the Buccaneers and the Packers. How about that?
Really?
Yeah.
Never would have guessed that.
I know. And the rumor is he's going to Amazon as a media person. Amazon really seems like they are gearing up.
They're scooping everybody up.
Yeah. They're going to be the go-to place for the NFL, it seems like.
I mean, they're just sliding in there.
Well, that's good. It ain't like they don't have enough money.
Do we really want them controlling the NFL, though?
No.
No.
Well, they'll get it to our door in 2 days or less.
There's that. Interesting. I think he might be a fun. They're getting a lot of young people. Because weren't they talking to Pat McAfee too? I don't know if anything came of that.
Mm-hmm.
But they were, and I thought like Kay Adams maybe. They were talking to her.
I know she quit, but
yeah,
I don't think she's got anything else lined up.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it seems like Amazon's doing a lot of stuff and kind of surprising people, a lot of backroom deals and stuff.
Yeah.
But it seems like they're making a real big push to kind of take over the NFL, the media aspect of it anyhow.
Can they take over Game Pass?
Oh, good Lord. Please, somebody, anybody.
Just fix it.
What a mess.
I know. It's so awful.
Yeah, I'm probably going to do a video on it. I probably going to wait until the new season. Let's see, I think it's July, and just see if they update it or anything before I blast them. But it's absolutely horrible. I mean, it's good if you just want to rewatch the game.
Yeah.
That's it. But if you want to do all 22, forget it. Not worth it. So we got, what are the dates coming up? You got a list over there of things coming up?
Maybe. No. It's only through April. Or wait, hold on. I thought I did. No, I do not.
Okay, we need to come up with that.
Oh, wait, here we go. Okay. Mandatory minicamp is June 7th to 9th.
Okay, so that's next.
Yeah.
Next Tuesday? Tuesday through Thursday, so 3 days.
Yeah. OTAs are running through tomorrow. So they're still going on.
Then what we got after mandatory minicamp?
That's all I got.
All right. Well, the season is fast approaching.
I know.
How many days do we have till that? I need to start doing the countdown.
I know. I don't know if they've announced anything after minicamp. I mean, after that, it's training camp, and that's usually like the end of July. Oh, it's so hot when they do that.
Well, I think we about covered everything we can cover. Again, not a whole lot going on with the Buccaneers or the NFL. It's kind of quiet on all fronts, but especially with the Buccaneers. And, that could be a good thing.
Sometimes no news is good news.
Yep. You guys are just working hard at getting better. Is that what we want to think?
Hopefully.
We sound so dead.
I know. I'm so tired.
Yeah. It's just one of those months, man.
Mm-hmm.
And the summer's just starting too.
I know. And we're already tired, miserable.
Exhausted. About 10 a.m. It's just like, sweaty. Alrighty. Anything else?
No, that is it.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up for us. Keep an ear out. We will probably have something next week on the mini camp. And, everybody's going to show up for that most likely.
It's mandatory. So.
Mandatory. So we'll see if Brady's out there and see what happens. Hopefully, fingers crossed, no injuries. And we'll let you know what's going on. And then we'll have a better picture of what's going to happen for the rest of the season, too. We'll have the dates and all that good stuff. All right, guys. Till next time.
Go Bucs.